All right.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another edition of our weekly real estate backstory. My name is Alan Rich. I'm the managing broker at Maximum One Realty and Realty Partners.
And my name is Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker from Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And joining us today, we have two very special guests that took some time out of their busy schedule because we know how December is for real estate closings. So we have Deb and Beth with us. So please introduce yourselves and tell us who you are. How about that?
I'm Deborah Kalish. I'm a partner with the law firm of Lueder, Larkin Hunter, and we handle real estate closings. I'm based out of the Peachtree City office, but our firm has 23 locations and we do closings all over Atlanta, and I handle a good part of the commercial work for the firm.
Cool.
And I'm Beth. I'm an associate with Lueder, Larkin Hunter, and I work with Deb in Noonan and Peachtree City. But again, we can work with offices all over the metro area.
And due to our relationship with these two ladies, we have a special email account. It's called max1vip@luederlaw.com. So these ladies will handle all the files for our agents, and you'll have a special team that I can coordinate with our agents that can close in Peachtree City, up in Douglasville. If you have buy and sell in different locations, you can definitely request multiple locations for closing for either side of the party.
But if you do that, please, one thing we will ask you is contact them first, because it makes everything go a lot smoother kind of thing. It's no problem where you close, but who puts everything together. It's so great having that one go-to source. And that's really what Deb and Beth really provide for our agents is that go-to source of not only just closings, but also a ton of resources and support. So if you have a crazy special stipulation that
you can't get a hold of me,
you couldn't get a hold of us, or it's something and sometimes we'll defer to them because honestly they're way smarter than us. And then sometimes you have just questions about maybe it's probating a will or what's the status of this? Is there a lien here? I mean, there's so many helpful things that really they provide for our agents, and it really is a true blessing for us. So please take advantage of that email address, and then when you do need to include someone on a real estate attorney, please do that on the front end. I can tell you one thing that we are seeing right now: refis are up about 1,000% from last year, and so the closing attorneys are having to work in refis, and they're giving priority to purchase and sales. And we're going to see even more of that as year end comes up. As this year winds out, ladies, how backed up are you guys on refis and that kind of stuff? Because I'm hearing 60 days on a lot of refis. And so I know that's causing some real challenges for you guys and I appreciate that you're giving priority to the purchase and sales. Tell us a little bit about what, that, and then how things are going as far as business wise and that kind of thing.
I would say with the refis, they are taking 60 to 90 days, but I think that's more of a volume on the lender part. So we have a drawer full of refis that we've run title, done title commitment, ready to go. We're just waiting on the lender to let us know that they're ready to schedule. So I would say that from our perspective, we are very busy, and purchase and sales do have more priority just because the deadlines are more important on that side. But it hasn't been so much of an issue on our end, other than just waiting on the lenders to tell us when they're ready. Because I know appraisals are taking longer, and the volume of loans that the lenders are processing is just crazy.
I know that one thing we're going to talk about a little bit later is some of the appraisal issues that we're seeing. Right now, over 20% of our deals are having a challenge on going to closing because of appraisals. So, we're going to talk about that too. I know that's one of the biggies right there. And then the lenders being ready, because it's not just like, like you talked about, it's not about getting the closing in. Sometimes it's about actually getting the docs. Our lenders are busier than they've ever been right now.
Right. And also, I know when I talked to Deb last Friday, we were going to talk about some probate issues and stuff like that. I know there's a couple of topics we talked about to mention this morning. Deb?
Sure. Well, I think we were going to talk about well, we had a few things. One was probate. We can talk about that, and power of attorney. I think the first thing, and I have another topic for another week.
Okay.
That just came up really just a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if y'all have seen it. Escalation clauses.
We have.
I think that's
a lot more agents are doing because it's such a seller's market in certain price points.
That's a whole new thing. Power of attorney. I'll start, and then Beth can. Of course, she's. I want her to chime in too, but. A power of attorney is fine for a closing, but there's so many caveats to that. So if somebody has a power of attorney already and wants to use it, whether they're a buyer or seller, first and foremost, don't assume that it's going to be okay to use it for a closing. There's so many things that depends on the circumstances. So let's say it's a seller and somebody signed it and they are not able to mentally or sign anything else. So that's what it's for. We can get approval on some more generic, broad power of attorneys for like people have for durable power of attorneys. Our preference always is a specific one for that property and that transaction. And we can go back to the title company underwriter under some circumstances and get approval to use the more broad ones that somebody already has. So the best thing to do if somebody's already got one they need to use and they can't sign another one that we would prepare is to let us see it. And then we're going to have the original at closing. And sometimes that's scary for people because that power of attorney is for everything, for their finances,
Right.
other than this property. So we have a duty of, extraordinary extra care and steps and notes all over the file that we make sure that we get that original recorded one back in those folks, the person's hands. So we, because they've got to have it. So there's that. Of course, there's military power of attorneys. We can use those. But again, we want to see what we've got. And our preference is always to do a specific one. If somebody's getting a loan, first and foremost, the lender has to approve it.
Right.
The use of it before we even do one. That's a whole other thing. So if there's a corporation or an LLC, again, we want to see the operating agreement, bylaws, and then who is it that's they want to appoint as their attorney in fact before we start doing a power of attorney. So it's and then a lot of times we can do it and go ahead and get the deed signed. And then we have the power of attorney. The person can come to closing and sign for the seller, but we don't necessarily then end up having to record it. So you'd think, it's one
simple.
Of those things
you
think it's
I know
simple.
that on the brokerage level. On the brokerage level, where we see most of the shady power of attorneys is with investors. I'm not trying to say anything bad about that. And Deb, I know that you know what I'm talking about because you work with investors and commercial. And so sometimes it's like, it's a cocktail napkin kind of thing scribbled on. And they're like, it'll work. It doesn't work kind of thing. So, a lot of times we see that where investors are already going to kind of try and push the envelope sometimes.
Well, any deed or any power of attorney or anything like that's a recordable instrument that just shows up and we don't have a sort of a chain of possession, sort of, so to speak, we always have a red flag. We have to know where it came from and who signed it, and we have to do our due diligence a great deal.
Yeah, so agents, you got to make sure you're doing your due diligence. When a client just says, I got a power of attorney, it's no problem. No, dig deeper. You have to dig deeper kind of thing.
Right, especially from seller side. Y'all, you guys can do all this work, just come to closing, find out, and thinking that you have the right power of attorney and present to the closing attorney, they're like, no, this is not right.
Yep.
So all this time you have wasted in not really having a authorized file. Yeah. So,
and if you do have one and it's valid and everything, there is a certain way that the contract maybe even needs to be signed under a power of attorney. We can help with that kind of advice on how that needs to be written out and signed so that it's a binding contract. So,
Right.
and just don't, just always just run it by us. Beth and I are glad to help.
And what's the email address?
max1vip@luederlaw.com.
There you go. max1vip@luederlaw.com. I'll put that in the comments on chat too.
So if you guys ever have any closing, whether you're a listing agent and a buyer's agent who's decided to use a Lueder, Larkin and Hunter, please email that file to max1vip at luederlaw.com, and Beth will take care of you.
Yep.
All right, great.
What was the other one? You said you had another topic that you really wanted to share with us today. So we'd love to hear.
Probate. Beth, do you want to talk about probate and also about Burke?
Yeah.
Being able to help.
So probate is another a red flag in the sense that it might mean that you're not going to be able to close as soon as you can. So we've actually had, I think I have 3 or 4 right now where the title exams come in. I've looked at the title and the names on title don't match the number of people that signed the contract, which is a red flag that somebody's passed away. And so we have 2 or 3 right now where the sellers didn't realize that somebody that owned the property with them had passed away. They didn't realize that they just automatically don't get the property themselves. It's possible if the deed has joint tenancy language on it, but not all deeds do, particularly older deeds, people that have owned properties since, the 80s or 70s. It can be an issue. It's something that we can fix, but keep in mind, probate can take about 6 weeks or so. If everything goes right and everybody
and that's with the wheels greased, it can take way longer than that too.
Exactly.
So this is kind of a general rule of thumb for everybody, kind of thing, because if it's a contested job, buckle up.
That could be a long time.
Yeah.
So just keep in mind, if you're getting a listing and you find out that somebody's passed away on title, reach out to us and we'll look into it. We'll see how the deed's set up to see if they're joint tenants or not. If they're joint tenants, it's easy. We just need a death certificate and the person to sign an affidavit at closing. But if not, there are different steps we would have to take depending on whether they passed away with a will, whether they passed away without a will, and then how long ago they passed away if they didn't have a will, because there are different avenues we would take depending on the different situations.
Can I ask a weird question about probate too? We've had some instances where we have some folks, an older population, and we're seeing instances where a lot of our sellers may not know how they originally took title, and a lot of our sellers think that automatically it transfers to the other spouse, but in a lot of cases it does, but sometimes it doesn't. How do they even check that? And can they change that? I know it's a 2-part question. You're talking about probate, but I really, that's pretty timely of some things that we're seeing in the market right now.
Yeah, we can always pull a copy of the deed. The older it is, the harder it is for us to do it here in the office. So if the deed was filed by 1990 or later, we can pull it online. Depending on the county, if it was filed before 1990, we may or may not be able to pull it online. And we would have to ask a title examiner to check, which would cost a little bit of money, but it's something that might be a good investment to do if they've owned the property for a really long time and don't have a copy of the deed in their files. So that's checking it. Generally, if they've owned it for less than 30 years, then we can easily check it online. And it's all about how the deed was set up. So if it was set up and it has language in there that they hold title as joint tenants with rights of survivorship or something with those words in some sort of order, then if the one spouse or one owner passes away, it automatically goes to the other.
Right.
If that language is not on there anywhere in the deed, and they are both still alive, then we can easily prepare a new deed, just transferring it from the owners as they are to owners as joint tenants with rights of survivorship. And then that will take care of that. And that's a simple, easy process. But once one of those owners passes away, then it's too late to do anything about that. And you would have to probate.
Right.
Gotcha.
Something Beth mentioned, about us checking title or checking the deed. And this is something that y'all may not know. We have an account with the GSCCCA, the Clerks Cooperative Authority, and I don't know if y'all do or not. But also, some counties like Fayette, Cobb, Douglas, and there's probably more. They have their own deed records, their own website. It's free. And they go, like Beth was saying, they go back to basically the beginning.
Oh, wow.
Online. And it's really actually easy to find things and get copies. So it's always good to check and see if a county has that kind of database. But I find that it's very helpful.
And we're always happy to look, because those, like Vega is free. It's kind of easy, but if you're not familiar with it, if you haven't done it before, it could take some time. So you always feel free to reach out to us, because we do it on occasion. So we're happy to help with that.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's one other thing if we have time. Was hoping we could just talk a little bit about the ability to do closings on Zoom
Oh,
right
wow,
now
yeah.
We did talk, yeah.
due to
Thank you,
COVID. So I can't remember when they started, but the state Supreme Court and the governor had started allowing us to do remote notary closings, Zoom closings during the pandemic earlier in the year. They keep there's an order. They keep extending it a month at a time. Right now, I think it goes into January. It's like January 8th or something like that. We usually find out the day it expires that it's going to be extended for another
Hard to
month.
plan that.
But there's some rules around it. Basically, the party signing via Zoom has to be in Georgia, number one. And two, if it's cash, then we have our firm has the decision on whether or not we can do it, which we can. I mean, we can do that. And so we can do that. And Beth has done this with a few people, and I've done it once or twice, where we actually have to have it. It's got to be on Zoom, not FaceTime or anything like that, because Zoom is a little more secure. And we actually we have some forms that we have to sign. They have to hold up their ID. And we actually do the closing watching. So it's me or Beth and a notary and a witness. So it's got to be the attorney and then a witness. So we actually do the closing. We make sure it's them. They bring the papers back if they want to just drive them back over or overnight them, and then we can notarize and witness them. And that's a big deal. That's the part that we would normally not be able to do, is they have to be in our office where we see them sign. But now, because of COVID, we can do it through these little squares on the screen. Now, if there's a loan, the lender has to allow it. So there are a lot of lenders that are uncomfortable with it, and I totally understand that. And then there's some lenders that have made it their policy that it's okay to do. So it's a case by case thing, but it is a nice option to have, especially when there's some sellers that are, scared to leave the house or in a nursing home, or, people. It's definitely helped everybody.
Well, there's been an uptick of COVID, so it's great to have that option. I can tell you personally that we just find that it's been real. You guys especially have been amazingly flexible. I do think that having the Zoom option is great out there, but you guys have done closings for us in a car, drive-by closings, which I've never heard of, picnic table closings. I mean, like literally standing on the hood and the trunk of the car kind of closings. So you guys have been extremely flexible. And I think a lot of the real estate attorneys have really been that way, been very, very understanding. So, but I'm glad to have this option out there as well.
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit easier if you're dealing with a seller over Zoom. It's not as easy to go through a whole loan package. If the lender even approves it, it's not as easy to get the loan package to the borrowers and then go through the whole thing over Zoom and then get it back to us. Usually when we've told everybody all the hoops they have to jump through on the buyer side, they've just said, oh, never mind, we'll sit at the picnic table or do it in our car. But for the seller side, it's not as cumbersome. We just need a couple of days advance notice. I mean, ideally, more advance notice, the better, just because we do have to get the documents to them and then arrange for them to get back to us before it closes. And I found it most useful when I needed a deed signed for title clearance. So if I need somebody to sign a quick claim deed to clear off some interest off title. They're not actually a buyer or a seller, but we need their help to get something signed. It's easier for them to not have to come in if it's just an affidavit or just a quick claim deed that they're signing. So that's been helpful.
That's cool.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, ladies. We appreciate the vast amount of information.
Yeah, and thanks
you
for
put
spending so
forward.
much time with us. I know you guys how busy you guys are, especially right now. So,
And you're more than welcome to join us, stay with the rest of the backstory. But we're going to go ahead and move on to our real estate backstory. And thank you. And don't forget, if you have any closing with Lueder Larkin, whether you're a listing or selling agent, please email to max1vip@luederlaw.com.
Thank you, Ming and Alan.
all right. Well, thank y'all. All right. So we want to kind of jump into the, our regularly scheduled programming, if you would, kind of thing. We appreciate
It's
Beth,
Monday.
yeah, all day, Beth and Deb with us, kind of thing. And we love being able to share that information out. It's so timely and important for us to have those relationships and that information. But we also want to share a lot of other information with you too. So this week coming up, we've got a couple of CE classes coming up. So today at 1 o'clock is licensed law for agents and brokers. That's over Zoom. We have our accountability every Tuesday as well. And then on Wednesday, our very
I'm
own.
teaching 2021 guard contract that section. Please join me.
Yes, please. So we'd love to have you kind of join us. You can sign up on mx1training.com kind of thing. So we'd love to have you there. And then as usual, we have our weekly Tech Thursday every Thursday where we share those out. You can find all that information at realestatebackstory.com. Same place you can find the information on this. So we want to talk about buyers today. A couple of weeks ago, we went through, who is our home buyer? But today we want to kind of break down the home buyer as far as the process that home buyers go through. We've got some really timely and pertinent information about who our buyers are and what they're looking for. And we really want to share that with you right now. And so the first thing is, what happens when what are the first steps that a buyer takes when they're ready to start the home buying process? And so the very first thing that they do, or the most common, 44% of all of our buyers look for properties online. They look for properties online for properties that are for sale online. Sorry, I can't seem to spit that out. This is why, though, that it is so important that we are sharing property information with our clients, with our potential clients, with our leads, kind of thing. Because when you share those property search abilities, and when you share properties out, and when clients start looking at those properties, it really gives you the ability to identify who's ready to buy, kind of thing. Only 16% of buyers contact an agent in the beginning of the home buying process. Only 6. So that means that 84% of the time it came through a lot of different sources, a lot of different opportunities. So we've got to be ready to take advantage of that. They're only calling us 15, 16% of the time, and that's largely dependent on their age. The crazy one is that our millennials and our younger and older millennials are the most likely group to actually contact a real estate agent very early on, kind of thing. So it's very, very important, though. I mean, one of the information that we really took from this is that you have to be sharing property information with your clients and then keeping up with that.
Whether it's geographic farming or just do a postcard, or I know sounds weird. I actually had a couple of folks that stated that the client that the agent reached out to was very happy to get a physical card versus just the online presence. So you got to do online plus the other for your different sphere influences. But the online definitely is a first step to get all the property information out to generate buyer interest.
Yep. So how long do our buyers search for homes? Right now, the average is they're looking for homes for 10 weeks before they submit an offer on a property, kind of thing. And so, but the real kicker here is that they search on average for 2 weeks before they contact a real estate agent. That's 2 weeks that we have to really be able to identify who's in the buying mode, who's ready to buy. I mean, everybody wants that client that's ready to buy right now, but there is no magic 8 ball that we can like, hey, are they ready to buy right now kind of thing. And so, we've already seen that you have to be sharing property information and keeping up with them. And then we've got to be ready to reach out, because there isn't this, like I said, there isn't a magic 8 ball for that. So, our average buyer right now is 10 weeks. They look on average at 9 homes. Now, you may say that sounds like a lot, and it does. But what we're seeing is that a lot of our buyers right now are looking at homes without us. So open houses, drive-by showings, or not showings, but drive-by looks kind of thing. We're seeing where a lot of our clients are, and a lot of agents even, are willing to send their clients to drive by properties first. In the days of COVID, what we've kind of learned is that, your clients, a lot of times they'll make up their mind on a home from the outside. And so again, that definitely leads us to,
the curb appeal is important, because if the outside look the way it is, then the inside should be a reflection of it 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that we're seeing where people are, like, the neighborhoods where they live, does it have a fenced yard? Does it have a nice yard? Is it friendly? That kind of stuff is really important to a lot of folks. So a lot of our buyers make that decision before they ever enter in the house kind of thing. So we're seeing where still on average, the average buyer right now is looking between 5 and 6 homes with an agent before they actually submit one kind of thing. So where did our buyers find the home that they ended up purchasing? Well, right now, overall, 52% found their home online. And that's one that actually concerns me a little bit, because this is one of those, we've heard that the internet's going to replace us. Only about 30% of our buyers found their home from their realtor. And so that, to me, is something where I would love to see that number much higher. I'd love for us to be the resource that they're utilizing. The fact that that over half of our buyers are using the internet to find their homes themselves means that, in my opinion, we're not doing that great a job on that side of things.
Well, if you think about, this is how Zillow and United Veteran, Agent Pronto, Redfin are able to do referrals to other agents and get a referral commission.
Yeah.
So, just make sure, use all the technology tool that's available to you. Share those technology tools with your client, because when they have questions, guess what? It doesn't go to Zillow or go to whoever it is. It actually come back to you.
Yep. Now, what are the most difficult steps that buyers found in the home buying process? So the number one, and it makes perfect sense, is finding the right property. 55% overall said finding the right property was the hardest part of the entire process. But when you actually combine that with our previous slide, that only 30% found their home from their real estate agent, that's another indicator that we can do a much better job of helping source for our clients.
Right.
The next two, for example, both paperwork and understanding the steps in the process, in my opinion, that's on us. That's on us as a real estate community. The fact that they find our paperwork confusing, honestly, the paperwork's there to protect homeowners and sellers and buyers kind of thing. And the fact that they don't understand the process and they don't understand paperwork means that we're not doing a very good job of explaining it overall. We're talking close to 40% of our buyers find paperwork and understanding the process and the steps confusing. So we're not doing a great job on talking about who we represent and who, how the entire process works, time frames, that kind of thing. After that, saving for the down payment and getting a mortgage make up about 20% of the difficulty. Is it hard to get to buy a home right now? We have historically low interest rates. Yes, the lenders are busy, but there's also a ton of programs out there, and we can't really complain that the market's not doing great on the real estate side of things. So
it's about consultation, y'all. If you consult with the client, either selling or listing, it doesn't matter. If you have a great consultation, I can promise you the client will make a much better educated decision than trying to figure out what the information means.
Yep. So when a buyer finds a home online that they really like, what do? So 65% of them walk through a home that they viewed online. So if they really like it online, and so this is one of those where your pictures matter. All right, if you're taking iPhone photos and crappy photos and just a single photo of the front of the property just to make sure that the MLS doesn't tag you, you're not doing your clients any service.
And I know inventory is low right now, so you think that once you put a market, it'll be sold quickly. The problem is that if everybody else is doing their job and you decide to take the shortcut, guess what? Even though your front photo may look nice, it may still make the buyer less hesitant making an appointment with you because they can't see the rest of it. They think you got something to hide.
41% of the buyers also walked through or saw the home and went through the neighborhood.
Right.
So 4 out of 10 buyers, they go out, they find a house online they like. 40% of the time, they're going by the house beforehand. So listing agents, this is a great opportunity for listing agents for when we share that information out about homes. This shows how many of our clients are out there looking automatically. 34% found the agent they used to search for or buy the home. So they 34% either reached out to the agent that sent them the listing, sent them the information, or the agent that has the property listed. 28% request more information. 20% goes on and pre-qualifies for a mortgage rate then and there. So the lenders always want to have their information on our properties as much as they can get it, that kind of thing. So, we got to make sure that we're sharing that information, and then understand that the other biggie that kind of goes with this is a lot of times they're reaching out to us. And how are they reaching out? What's the number one form? Our phones. Okay. Yep. They're calling us, but I can't tell you how often we don't answer our phones anymore, especially a phone number we don't know. And we've got to fix that. Ladies, come on. I mean, let's be honest. I had an agent railing on me in the office, a couple of months back, who's like, you know what? These listing agents never answer their phone. Bah, 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 bah. Her phone rings. She takes it out, looks at it, sees it's the number she doesn't answer, hits decline, and puts it back in her pocket. Like, that could have been a client. We're doing the same thing. And so this is something we know that we need to do. We've got to be answering our phones. So next up is what's important to our buyers when it comes to our website. 87% want pictures. Pictures. So I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the quality of pictures that you're putting on your listing really, really matters. After that, detailed information about the property. So do you wordsmith your listings? How descriptive are you in the property? I don't mean like don't go crazy with it, but are we doing a good job sharing detailed information about this property? 52% of our buyers want a floor plan. I don't know what you guys are seeing out there, but I'm seeing like 1% of our listings actually have a floor plan on it. But over half of our buyers really want them kind of stuff. 44% have real estate agent contact information. They want to be able to contact us. But sometimes I see where real estate agents don't put their cell phone numbers on their website. They put their business phone. And if you're going to answer your business phone, that works fine. But too often we don't. So after that, virtual tours, detailed information about recently sold properties, that kind of stuff. So next up is mobile search. And this is a biggie, folks. This is drastic. 71% of all buyers found their home with a mobile application. Right now, Realtor.com app, Zillow app, these kind of things are gaining massive market share. And the thing that bothers us is, like, we provide an app for all of our agents. Most brokerages do have an app, and if you don't have an app, use HomeSnap. But we need to be sharing mobile, our apps with our clients. 71% found their property on a mobile application. So should we be using our apps more? Yes or yes?
Absolutely. And just want you to know that if you also set them up on Georgia MLS or FMLS on search, as soon as the property come online, guess what? They get a notification. If you do it in collaboration style, you also get a notification, so it's there. Yeah. Okay. The apps are there for you. And also, if you educate your client, let them know, hey, Zillow app may recycle some of the old inventory. Your app has the most updated active
yeah.
available
Our apps,
listings.
our apps pull the
Okay.
data right out of the MLS.
It does not take consideration of anything under contract at all. So, and they'll ask you, why is Zillow's showing it and ours is not? That's because Zillow's not updated. So you can tell your client, don't waste your time on those apps, because I'm telling you right now, those are not active listings.
Well, the thing is that if you will share your app with your clients, they will use them. But so often we don't share our apps. I'm promising you, and it's upsetting to me. So many of you don't already know where your app is. You don't know where it is on your phone. You're not sharing it out. It's important that we do this. This will help us generate business, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
I want to kind of wrap up on our buyers today and the satisfaction in the buying process. When you look at ratings and reviews and things like that, people only care about the 4s and 5s. 4s and 5s are the only thing that matters when you survey. And so when we look at this satisfaction in buying process survey, only 63% of our buyers were very satisfied. So that's our 4s and 5s. Only 63% were very satisfied. Somewhat satisfied doesn't cut it. So we can't pat ourselves on the back. A third of our clients are not satisfied with the home buying process. And folks, I hate to break it to you, but that falls on us, okay? Falls on us when it comes to communication, the jobs that we're doing, how we're reaching out. There is a huge opportunity for agents that really want to hustle, really want to do an amazing job for their clients to build market share in this business right now. 63% of our buyers are happy. The other, 37% are not. And that is really troubling for me.
That's a huge number. So, so you guys make sure education is first and foremost, because even with client that has bought and sold home before, if they haven't bought and sold in the last 5 years, the market has shifted, the market has changed. And also I understand that client gets a lot of these background noises telling them, hey, you can do this because I did this and blah, blah, blah. So, but if you do a good education with your clients, say, listen, you may hear other people's experience, but the thing is, they don't tell you the detail of what all went on. So you can't take just bits and pieces. But if you have any questions, please always contact me and let me know what's going on. And I'll give you my best advice based on what the market is doing today.
Yeah. So we want to jump into Relo. One thing that we're very excited about, we've been doing real estate backstory really since the whole pandemic thing started. And now some of our amazing realtors that we are blessed to work with, people like Kay, actually share information with us. So this is a shout out to Kay. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Karen.
Kay Rollins.
So this is information we're sharing through another agent kind of thing. And so that is about 9 million people relocated since the beginning of the pandemic kind of thing. And most people moved either at the beginning or during the summer months. We're seeing less on it right now. But the great thing about that is we actually broke it down and said, hey,
who's leaving, who's coming,
who's going.
Right.
A lot of times we don't know who's coming and going. Actually, we do. And so where are the top destinations for people that leave Georgia? So almost a quarter of them are going to Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina.
No,
8.5
who are leaving their
state.
state.
I'm sorry.
Outflows.
I'm sorry. People coming into Georgia. I'm sorry, I had it backwards. I apologize.
How about people that are leaving their state? Alabama's being the top.
So who's moving in the state? No, top destination who leave their state. They're leaving Georgia. So
right.
What we're seeing, and then I guess where I'm going with this is, what we're seeing is that it's your border states that tend to have some of the biggest moves out of Georgia kind of thing. So coming out of Georgia, we've got 24% of outflows. 24% out of Alabama. It is people going out. South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina. So these are our border states.
Colorado.
Well,
we know why they're going
there. Our pot smokers are going to Colorado, I guess. So, but who's moving into the state? We're getting nearly half the folks that are moving here from Tennessee. So, hey, volunteer state, we'd love to have you. So keep on coming down. After that, we got Texas, Alabama. 5% of the folks moving in are coming out of California and Oregon. So, some of those West Coast are seeing how much value you can get for your home kind of thing. But we even went and broke it down a little bit further into
Henry
county. And basically it's the same. Like this is Henry counties here, but you can do the same thing in Fulton. And basically what we're seeing is who's moving in and out of our local counties are border counties.
And where they coming from.
Yeah. So both in and out. You can see that the most people going out of Fulton County are going into DeKalb County. The most people coming into Fulton County are coming out of DeKalb County. So those border counties, because the average move in Georgia is 14 miles. So for us, that's actually really good information. That means that on the majority of our sales, we can probably help our client buy their home as well. Because if you're dealing in,
not only that, it allow you to know where to market.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're doing geographic farming, you know where people are coming from in state and start market those counties as well.
Yep. So, all right, next up, our homeowners gained $1 trillion in equity for the third quarter of this year, kind of thing. So an average gain of $17,000 per homeowner for the third quarter of this year versus last year. And so that really is equating into some really good values and ownership and wealth for our clients, kind of thing. We got some more economic information, more predictions. And so NAR had about 20 different leading economic housing experts and kind of predicting what's going on, kind of thing. And what they're looking at and what they're expecting is around a 3.5% GDP growth and an unemployment rate of around 6.2,
which is lower.
It's moving forward, kind of thing. So I would like to see that unemployment rate better, and I think that as the vaccines start getting into place, things like that, I really am very hopeful that really helps, kind of thing. They're looking at 8% price growth, which
for
is
2021, and then 5.5 in 2022, and 3% in the following year. So it doesn't seem that the price of the house is going to drop anytime soon at this point.
We are
based on the stats.
An 8.5% price growth, honestly, is a little bit
really
8%, and that's very, very aggressive, kind of thing. I do think that we can sustain that, mainly because we've been making babies faster. We've been making houses, kind of thing. But
a lot of our friends got pregnant during this time.
So, but the other thing that came out is the top 10 real estate markets during and in a post-COVID environment. Well, guess where Atlanta comes in? We're in top 10, baby. Whoop, whoop. So, that really is good for our local market, in that we are one of the top 10 markets in the United States that have both shown resilience in going through COVID, and at the same time are poised to really take advantage of that. We are still, compared to a lot of the country, you can get a lot more house for your money here than you can in DC or
absolutely,
or California and New York.
Having the access to major transportation, along with the movie industry.
We got movie industries.
They're moving in Atlanta, y'all.
We are the second largest state for government jobs here.
Mm-hmm.
We're close to the coast, but not so close that we actually get hurricanes. So we have a lot of really great things going on in the Atlanta market, kind of thing. So we have seen some market activity slowing, but we kind of needed to. When you see that in the news, don't let that kind of poo-poo you anything like that. National inventory was down about 40% over last year, and overall, what we're seeing normal trends for this time of year, kind of thing. So yes, we've been going through so many months of, hey, we beat last month. Hey, growth goes. Look, normally November, December are kind of stinky months for us, kind of thing.
You get a little spike in November under contract and December closing, because people are moving during the period between school. But typically it's still not a strong.
Our normal fall shutdown has been much less dramatic and drastic than we have in past years. So overall, when you see those numbers, really don't let that don't let that kind of like sway you or concern you about any of that kind of information kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So
jobless claims surged last week to 853,000, the highest number since September 19. So the continued change claim call saw their first increase since August, up 230 to 5.76 million.
yeah, so we are concerned about unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right now the challenge for unemployment is that it's kind of going in time with the surge in COVID kind of thing.
Correct.
And you know, we got some recent information that, you know, 10,000 restaurants are going to close before the end of the year right now, permanently, and that worries us kind of going on long term. So we are very optimistic about having the vaccines coming out and where that kind of cuts in, but we have a lot of folks that are having employment issues. And not to be like, okay, no big deal. Like on the real estate world, it hasn't affected us greatly, largely because we are based on supply versus demand. We don't have enough demand to handle enough supply to handle the demand. Yeah, take that. Switch it around.
Well, not only that, you know, real estate always be your basic essential. People got to have roof and shelter over their head.
Yeah, the inflation numbers came out and they were 1.2% kind of across the board, which is really, really good. You know, and the only thing that's really has the potential for the Fed to raise the rates is the fact that is if we see inflation really go nutty, and we're not seeing inflation. Well, we are in the housing market, okay, and you know, for buying a house, you know, we are seeing property values up.
That is caused by the onset of lower interest rates. Yeah. So when you have lower interest rate, guess what? You can afford more houses.
Right. And they stayed low this week. So, you know, we hit another low last week of 2.71 and this week again, 2.71. So, you know, we didn't hit another record, but we definitely stayed at another record.
And I think they're doing that just to stimulate the economy, because honestly, if you have everything shutting down and nothing is moving, that's going to create a much more pandemic of fear, if you ask me.
Yeah, but really we should not be fearful. The mortgage originations have hit their highest pace ever. Previously, you know, it was in 2003 that we hit the highest number of mortgage originations ever. However, we're going to beat that this year. And so that's really, really good and that's why all the lenders are crazy busy. Every one of them's hiring, that kind of stuff. But, you know, these record rates are also really helping a lot of people who are delinquent homeowners and people that, you know, we've seen where folks, you know, maybe they bought their home at, you know, 7-8%. But now they've been able to refi in the 3s and the 4s kind of thing. And we're even seeing where some folks in lieu of doing mortgage forbearance have been able to go in and get lower rates kind of thing. And so these rates have even helped maybe folks that may have been struggling now to be paying less of their monthly income over to on home bills kind of thing. You know, we talked about this earlier, and that was as far as like what are the problems that our buyers are having for delayed and canceled contracts kind of thing. So we got some new information out, and we just kind of want to share that with you real quick. So, you know, the number one issue that we have right now, and this is national kind of thing, is that we're having issues related to obtaining financing. And so, but understand that this is about closing. So when this is not about them getting a pre-approval. No. This is about getting a pre-approval, getting a house under contract, spending the money, all that kind of stuff. And then they're not closing. Okay, so we're getting our pre-approvals. 30% of our deals right now are dying on the table because of lender and financing issues.
It's not necessarily always a lender.
It isn't. No, absolutely not.
It takes two to tango. The lender is an enforcer, but the buyer has to do their due diligence and submit the paperwork to the lender in order to make it work. And sometimes, you know, the buyer just needs to be honest with the lender and let them know what's going on versus Oh yeah, I knew about that, but I didn't want to tell you. Denial is not just a river in Egypt, y'all. What you need to do is work with a lender. Sometimes the lender can do exceptions, sometimes they can't. Okay, rather drag everybody out on this, just let your buyer know your lender's your best friend at this point. And you need to let your best friend know if you have any difficulties or anything that you might want to mention that could negatively affect your loan.
Yeah.
So, that is a huge thing. And also the buyer think they have all the time to turn in paperwork. That is not anymore. So
I mean, right now our lenders are approving or doing job verifications the day of closing. Sometimes the day before. Sometimes
But
it's
they're
the day
required.
of closing.
Yeah.
They're doing it, that morning kind of thing, and verifying employment. We see where we have more of these kind of issues as a brokerage from lenders that are not local. And I'm not trying to say anything bad about, all the online people, but the challenge that we've seen with so many right now is you want someone that you can call on and be able to speak to and engage with, not you get a different person every time you call, this kind of stuff.
And I won't discredit, some online are really good once they've been assigned a loan officer. Depends. It's like anything else. You can go to any restaurant, and some servers are great, some are okay, some you just don't want to come back. So, same with LOs. Okay, so you just got to make sure, as an agent, you need to stay on top of those LOs, and also your client, just ensure paperwork or processing. So that will avoid some of your 30% related issue. And just because they can't do it due to whatever circumstances, be an encouragement to your buyer, because they may be able to do it in 6 months, and you still need that loan. You still need that transaction in 6 months. So don't just say, oh, can't help you, sorry. Don't do that, y'all, because that will go a long way with what they say about you in the open market, and you will never get a referral from them. So
next up is appraisal issues. We're having more and more appraisal issues because we've seen property values increase more than the appraisers are really comfortable moving on
Correct.
some things. And so, the other side of that is make sure that we are doing our due diligence on pull your comps, whether you're representing the buyer or you're the listing agent. Pull your comps, know your data. The other thing is to make sure that we are explaining, especially to our buyers right now, how appraisals work and how financing works. So, we've seen where some buyers and even some agents, on some of the listings coming in, like we'll have listings, and then, these agents are submitting offers that they know are overpriced, that they know are overvalued, that they know won't get appraisal. And they just kind of expect that that everyone will drop their price. And we're seeing where sometimes the sellers are and sometimes the sellers aren't. As a buyer's agent, you can't force a seller to lower their price. And so
if you have a seller that wants list ridiculously high, just tell them, say, listen, rather we go through this whole process and come up with a disappointment, may I recommend an appraisal firm to go ahead and do appraisal on your property, so you know where your house stands.
Yep.
And not only that, it helps the listing agent when it comes to the buyer's appraiser. You can just go ahead and give them that report, and that one will help the appraiser, and they can review the file basically. And 9 out of 10, you have much better luck with that than none.
Yep. All right. And then after that, we got, of course, our home inspections are always going to be a challenge for us. And then we have title deed issues.
And that's where Beth was saying earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So searches for manufactured homes are up 50%. Now, I'm not trying to say, hey, go be the trailer park king. But what we're seeing is this really is a trend right now, largely because you can find land pretty cheap. And we're seeing where, like, if you're trying to start, to get an entry level home, manufactured homes really kind of, and I'm not pushing it, I'm just saying that we're seeing more and more of that.
And not only
right
that,
now.
they're much prettier than the old fashioned wallpaper and all that stuff.
I mean, some are trailers,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff, but we're actually seeing a lot more modular homes, manufactured homes, and the searches for those, where because people are doing more teleworking, things like that. So don't necessarily expect that, that all trailers and modular homes are not created the same anymore. And that we're seeing, whereas in the past, a lot of agents would just immediately poo-poo modular. I mean, I'm just,
You like that word, don't you?
well, I mean, it's be like, ew, stinky kind of thing. Well, listen,
There's some really nice.
Well, that and some of our clients are looking for a reason, and that's because they fit the bill for a certain group of buyers, that kind of stuff. And so there is some options out there. And so do look for that.
All cash home sales, y'all, is at all-time high. I
Yep.
have never seen all cash sale home as high as it has been. And y'all know I audit all our paperwork in the back. Well, not all of it. Keisha helps, thank you. And our couple of ranch managers. But I'd never seen that high.
Well, and that's the thing that really we just wanted to highlight this, because 29% of Atlanta offers are all cash offers. And that is staggering when you think, well, everybody's having a hard time getting financing and da. No, some people just all the way switched over to all cash.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
absolutely.
All right, we want to kind of wrap with this, and this is the top 10 amenities that Zillow is predicting that your buyers in 2021 want.
Zoom rooms.
So number one, Zoom rooms, right? We are still doing a lot of teleworking, that kind of stuff. So Zoom rooms is top on the list. Next is anytime that we have a home that has vacation style amenities and entertainment, in-ground or above ground pools, even.
Tennis court.
Yeah, the swim tennis neighborhoods are a really big deal again.
Home theaters, stuff like that. So if you have any amenity or just an outdoor area, it can be a gardening area, whatever it is, but people are wanting to do something with their spare time now that they have, because they can't go anywhere else.
Yeah. Number three, well-equipped kitchen. A lot of us have been working from home, and so we're seeing where that kitchen is really, really important. So well-equipped, well-done, updated kitchens, and not that this is anything earth-shattering. Kitchens and baths have been a big deal in real estate for a long time, but still, that's one of the top things.
Home safety tech, Ring doorbell, Nest, all that. Nest Protect, it's all
artificial intelligence lighting, the whole 9 yards. That is a really big deal. And then the next one is not just home safety tech, but smart health tech. So air purifiers, smart toilets. I didn't even know there was such a thing. I'll be real honest with you. As far as having smart toilets, the bidets are really back in. Home gyms, really a big deal right now, because still a lot of gyms are closed down. Number 6 is our furry friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Having space and intended places for our pets are really important. Like 60% of buyers right now have a dog. And so do you think fenced yards are a big deal right now? Yeah, they sure are. Number 7,
small towns.
So, the rural markets are really doing very, very well right now. And if you're able to do telework and to work from home, small towns offer a lot of advantages as far as being able to get away, a lot of good value for your money, that kind of stuff.
New construction. So due to COVID, a lot of people want new construction simply because they don't feel like there's germ in the house. It's brand new.
Oh.
So, and plus, like anything else, you can't beat the new smell of car. Same thing as new construction.
New home smell. That's a good smell. Okay.
It's yeah. So, anyways.
Number 9 on our list, backyards. So, the backyard is in, okay, because we feel, a lot of folks don't want to be going out, that kind of stuff. And so backyards and enjoying your space in your space is a really big deal. The last thing,
but not least,
and that is friendly folks, people you like to be with, so nice neighbors, friendly neighborhoods. This is a really big deal, folks, because like if you used to do teleworking, or if you used to work in the office and now you're working from home,
You have no
it's hard to
social
have any
interaction.
kind of real interaction. So we're
Right.
seeing neighborhoods where, you know, folks will set up in a cul-de-sac around, you know, drag out you know, everybody will bring a couple of beers and a koozie and that kind of stuff. Well, okay, an adult beverage. How about that? But see, the thing about most of these trends and is that these are trends that have really started to change the buyers past COVID. Like, are we going to have Zooming? You know, like is Zoom just a COVID thing? No, I really don't think it is, because it's become such a big part of our world, kind of thing. Some things on the list, like kitchens. Yeah, of course, kitchens are going to be a big deal, but we're just seeing that these are trends and shifts that we really feel that honestly are going to be after the vaccines are out, after COVID becomes something when we just use 2020 to describe a bad word, kind of thing.
Right. And I think Zoom's going to be around as part of our culture now. And even though a lot of us still prefer the personal contact, but I think Zoom may lose some of its favor, but it will be around.
Yep. So we really, really appreciate you. If we can be of any service, call, text, smoke signals. We appreciate you joining with us today. Miss Beth, thank you for hanging with us. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, or anything that we talked about that you think maybe we're full of or have some input on? We're totally fine with that too.
No, I think that y'all have great information, and I just appreciate y'all letting us come into the call and all the business that you guys are sending our way. We really appreciate it.
All right. Well,
we
thank
appreciate
you too.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great week. Go out and knock them dead, and we will see y'all next
You
week.
forgot your text smoke signal.
No. Call, text, smoke signals. We do it all. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Have a great Monday.